video will show you how expectancy increases momentum and creates more luck in your life so that what you create happens even easier than ever. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that and how to make it a powerful change in your life. Welcome back to another video. My name's Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, we're going to be going more in detail to understanding expectancy and how we can use expectancy in the process of us creating what we want in our life. How that helps us to build focus, momentum, and how from that momentum we can then start to become more lucky because of some things that we're going to learn about it. So first off, let's talk a little bit about expectancy and the manifestation process in general. Now, expectancy is in a way an outcome that we are intending for, and it's the follow through of that. We can have something that we intend for, but sometimes what happens is if we don't expect it, and I'm not saying to be attached to the expectation, but what happens is if we have an intention for something we want to experience in our life, but we don't actually believe it will happen, then we don't actually see that come to fruition, because we must understand that our beliefs are creating our kind of experience. So the key to having more expectancy has to really do with how much you believe in the process itself of manifestation. How much, not even just the process itself, but how much do you believe in yourself and your ability to do what you want to do? And an easy way to understand this is to see if you say you're going to do something, do you follow through with it and do you do it? Because what happens is if you say you're going to do something and then you do it, you not only feel more authentic because you did it, but in a way you prove to yourself that when you say you're going to do something, you actually do it. That's one way that you could start to increase the expectancy in your life and what you expect, and how when you do that, you start to gain more self-trust in yourself. Confidence, the word confidence actually breaks down, and the root of it means to trust yourself. Do you trust in yourself? Because the more confidence that you feel, the more you expect things to go in the direction of what you prefer. Now there's another part I want to talk about this, and this has to do with understanding the tipping point of what we want to create in our life. When do we get to that tipping point of when we know something is about to happen? Well, this depends on not only how it feels, but the trust that you have in yourself for it to happen. And what you must realize is, think about it like this. Your vibration as you get closer and closer to your manifestations, but understand, again, it's not just about the end result of the manifestation, it's the process that it takes to get there as well. Because if you enjoy the process, paradoxically enough, things happen quicker anyways. But what happens is your state starts to increase as you're doing what you love doing and as you are getting closer to your manifestation. But what happens is if something happens that kind of in a way looks like a block, what will happen is your vibration will dip because your internal state of being is dependent on the external circumstances. So something you must become aware of is, how do you feel in correlation to what is happening? How does your inner state of being respond to that of the outer reality? And if you become aware of what that is, you can start to more so tailor your state of being to what you want, because then you start to increase your vibration. And the only time your vibration will dip is if you give a meaning to something that happens and says that means it's not going to happen. That is a block. Having a certain expectation and then depending your inner state of being on the outer will then block you from the experience if you dip your vibration. So the key to this is something I've explained many times, and that is hold the frame. Hold the frame. If something happens and it looks like, oh, that's a block, it's not going to happen now, and that's the meaning you give it, then that will be the effect you get out of it. When instead, what do a lot of successful people do? A block comes up, what do? They don't just stop at that wall, they find a way to go over it, under it, around it, through it. That's what you can begin to do. I'm not telling you to create resistance. I'm saying to have the mentality that you don't let your vibration dip just because there's a wall. You have fun with the process. You enjoy it, because as you do that, you're going to increase your expectancy and what you expect to happen, because you increase your belief in yourself. You're buying into yourself. You're holding that frame. So this is important to understand, because it is about resonance and it is about vibration. And your vibration must remain in a high state of being in order to really experience what you want. And that's where expectancy comes from, is understanding and having that trust in yourself and in your own manifestation ability. Get to the core of what you believe to be true about the manifestation process in general. Because if you don't believe it to be something that works, then guess what? You're going to continue to get that self-fulfilling prophecy. Sometimes people come to me and they're like, the law of attraction doesn't work. How can I know that it works? Well, you first have to believe in the process of it. And even if you don't believe in the process, you'll still get a reflection of it at some level. So if you say to yourself, yeah, the law of attraction doesn't work, you'll attract situations to yourself that prove that the law of attraction doesn't work, which means, of course, that it does work. It's just the mind isn't seeing the correlation from what is happening to that being the kind of experience. So it's about having that awareness. It's not so much what have you created in your life recently. It's more so, what are you aware that you've created in your life recently? Subconsciously or consciously. Subconsciously means normally unaware. But what can you bring from the subconscious into the conscious to become aware? Because everything is a reflection of what you believe to be true. And you'll naturally take more action towards things that you do believe to be possible for yourself, that you do expect to actually happen. So think of expectancy in a way as like belief. The more that you believe something, the more that you naturally expect it. So increase your belief into something, which also means that you maybe have to increase your vision and your momentum, your focus. What are you focused on? Because if you're focused on the outcome of what you want, the more momentum you get from that depends on the focus. Whatever you focus on, you feel. This is an important part of the process. Whatever you focus on, you feel. Are you focused on a vision of yourself not succeeding? Because if so, you're going to feel negative emotion and you're going to be developing momentum in your body that doesn't link up with the experiences that you want. Maybe it links up with the opposite of it, with the resistance. So the key is being aware of this. This is something I've also been sharing recently. It's understanding this electromagnetic type energy that is around our body. Now, normally what we think of is we think of this is our body, this is me. But what actually is happening, and there's machines that show this. There's an electromagnetic energy that goes far outside of your body. And we may not be able to actually see our thoughts. Now, of course, we can see our thoughts once they materialize, but we may not be able to see the etheric nature of our thoughts. But there is an aura around our body. This is something that is shown in machines. This isn't just me talking about some idea. There's an aura around our body. And the thoughts that we are thinking are generally going around of our body. This is what the Heart Math Institute has shown with the toroidal field of our body. There's an electromagnetic energy that goes through our heart, goes around our body, and that moves in a circulation like this. Same with our head. There's an more of an electromagnetic type. It's less magnetic than the heart, but there's an electromagnetic that also goes around our whole body that connects through our head. Now what happens is as we're thinking and as we're feeling, that's causing these to go in a circle like this. And whatever momentum we have in a certain vision and a certain feeling that we have about that vision is in a way creating our vibration that goes all around our body. And then what happens is based on those two things combined with our belief about what is possible, about what we expect, we go out into the world and we link up with people that vibrate with that energy field, that mesh to the expectations that we have, to the holding the frame that we have. And that's why the key is to become centered to who you are and to trust the process. Because as you also make it about understanding more so your state of being, that energy field, make it more about managing that energy field than it is about the outside. Because if you manage this energy field that I'm talking about, everything else will appear the way you want it. Because you start to align with more so who you prefer to be. And as you manage your own vibration, the things on the outside will start to just take care of themselves. But what you have to pay attention to is how you feel about what is happening on the outside, and pay more attention to how you feel. Because the moment something comes up that gives you a block or gives you something that says, hey, you don't need to feel this way because this isn't going to happen the way that you want. But instead, if you were to give it a positive meaning, you'd keep your vibration high. This is when things happen in my life that it's like a little bit of a block. I think to myself, how can this serve me? Ask yourself that question. How can this serve me? What could be the positive part of this? Think of positive not as good or bad. Think of positive more as integrative and segregative. Anytime we say something is bad, we automatically separate ourselves from the process. Anytime we say something is in some way positive, we integrate that experience. Maybe we learn from it. Maybe it's something that then transforms into something positive because of that frame. You could even think of this from the point of parallel realities. That in the moment you make a decision about what something means, your vibration, think about the electromagnetic energy around your body. If you give it a positive meaning, you increase your state. If you give it a negative meaning, you dip your state. And that based on that, then the choice of which parallel reality you experience will be dependent on which choice you made in that moment. And every moment, you have choices that you're making as to whether things are positive or negative, integrated or segregative. And if you start to more so choose the ones that you prefer, you're going to believe in yourself more because you're going to increase your state of being. And the more you increase how you feel, the more you generally will believe is possible for you, which then increases your expectancy. And as you increase your expectancy, guess what? You start to actually experience more of what you want. So another thing with manifestation that can really help you to create what you want powerfully in your life is understanding that of the subconscious mind and how the subconscious mind runs most of our life experience. So when you get to the core of what you believe to be true, everything begins to change. And that's why I've created a free meditation that will show you exactly how to reprogram your subconscious mind. I recommend that you listen to it about 21 days straight to get the maximum benefit out of it, maybe even longer. I get people every single day that comment on my YouTube videos or that reach out to me that say, thank you for giving me that meditation. It's completely changed my life. So I want to make sure that you understand that you have that same opportunity. It's going to be in the top of the description box below, and it will show you exactly how to reprogram your subconscious mind in a very powerful way. So this whole process of expectancy, of getting yourself past that tipping point, of creating more momentum, has to do with how much you trust yourself, how much you trust in the process, and how much you maintain and balance out your own electromagnetic energy field more so than anything else. Because the more that you manage that, the more that you manage this, is the more that everything else happens anyways. But you see, most of us will look to the outside and say, when that changes, then my internal will change. When that changes, that happens, that happens, that happens. And what we do is then we create distance and a gap from us really experiencing that. We create a wall. We create a dependent relationship because we are decreasing our state of being only dependent on the outside. Instead, make it more about you connecting with the inner part of yourself. Trust in yourself. Expect great things to happen because you're managing your own vibration and you are choosing to feel the way that you prefer for the sake of feeling good. Buy into yourself and let it be okay for you to feel good without needing a whole bunch of expectations or rules as to why you need to feel good. As you more so manage your vibration, you'll find that everything begins to change from there. So another thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing more live Q&As on Instagram. So if you want to interact with me and ask some questions, go ahead and add me on Instagram. I'll go ahead and link that below for you guys, and we can have more of a dialogue versus just like comments, and those are cool too, but it's kind of cool also to have that interaction with you guys. So go ahead and download or click on the Instagram and go and add me so that we can have that kind of conversation as well. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you guys like it, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you guys on the next vid. Peace, much love.